Welcome to the Focus interview. Today with me, we have two important guests. The first one is Dato' NMT Murthy, the head or managing director of TGCC PLT, our strategic partner with ESPC on cybersecurity program. And together with us as well is Miss Patricia Lang from United Kingdom. She is the Chief Officer for Operation as well as Compliance of the OTHM UK. Welcome to the show, Dato' Murthy, as well as Miss Patricia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the subject that we are discussing today is about cybersecurity certification and the qualification that has been linked and offered as well as approved by OTHM in UK through our strategic partner TGCC PLT, led by Dato' Murthy. You are one of the approved OTHM centers in Malaysia. What do we mean by approved center? And then how does CCLP and CDPO correlate with these approved centers?
Thank you so much for inviting me as an OTHM approved center for this event. All right. First of all, we are an approved center by OTHM Qualifications UK. That means an approved center, that means we have done an application to UK, all right. We have to follow regulations and so on in order to become their approved center. And approved center is approved by UK to run programs. One are regulated programs from UK, which are OTHM qualifications programs per se. Another type of programs here is basically known as endorsed learning programs. In fact, the programs that we have are endorsed learning programs. When you say endorsed learning programs, these are the programs that OTHM gives a privilege for centers or institutions to get their internal programs recognized. But there is actually a submission process, a strict regulated submission process in which they will look at compliance on the program. So this is the main thing that we all went through of submitting to UK on the number of credits. I'm sure both of us have worked along with OTHM on this. We have worked along on the units and the credits and the modules. Some questions and answers by UK. It went through the process, and end of the day, we managed to get the program endorsed, which is level 5 and also level 7. So, as an approved center, there are quite a number of approved centers in Malaysia also. So, we are one of the approved centers that we work closely of offering OTHM qualifications with the private sector. Mainly TGCC PLT works along with government and also individuals. So our method of delivery can be usually 3 methods. One of the qualifications from UK usually we deliver in 3 methods: face to face, can be online, or can be following from the work experience that an individual or person has through the RPL process, recognition of prior experiential learning. So these are the things that basically as an approved center, we look at things like this, but we have to ensure the quality control is there. Because when we work as an approved center, we are governed by certain do's and don'ts and principles. Because here, what we are doing here is, we are giving a person qualification and we must make sure the qualification is right, is rightfully given to the person, and the person or the person or the individual is able to carry out the duties and responsibilities that comes with that qualification. Usually when we look at any endorsement or any qualifications or any individuals, we look at usually three elements. Usually is they know, they can, and they are able to do what is required by the units and the modules of a program. This is what we are looking at their competencies.
The word here is competencies. Now move to Patricia. I think now OTHM is very well known in UK. In fact, I know about OTHM through Datuk Murthy and some linkages here, but I'm sure not many viewers in Malaysia or some part of this region knows OTHM. Can you talk a little bit more about OTHM and its position in the UK academic industry or education industry, I would say, as well as the awarding organization?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today. So OTHM is a UK regulated awarding body or certification body. We are regulated by the UK government through its non-departmental regulator, Ofqual, or the Office for Qualifications. OTHM is nearly 20 years old, so we're very well established in the awarding body sector. We provide qualifications and endorsed programs really across the globe to many partner institutions such as TGCC and data institutions. Our intention is to provide opportunities for students, young people and also maturer people to develop their knowledge, understanding and ability in a variety of different sectors so that they can achieve a recognised UK qualification. That UK qualification can really stand them in good stead whatever their academic and professional goals are. So in the case of the two programs that we're discussing today, what this does, it provides evidence of learning and capability and competence in the particular arenas of cybersecurity and data protection. We're very proud to be able to say that we work in very many countries around the world through our delivery partners. And the advantage of working with delivery partners, such as TGCC as one example, is that we can ensure that our programs and our endorsed programs are relevant both to the UK market, but also to the local, in this case, Malaysian market, and are absolutely up to date and cutting edge in terms of the knowledge, skills and abilities that we provide. So we're absolutely delighted. We've been partnering with TGCC for quite some time now, and I'm very proud to be able to say that we work well together in this partnership.
Thank you, Patricia. Back to Datuk Murthy. We talk about three methods of evaluation this program, specifically the Certified Cybersecurity Leadership Professional, we call it, and the other one is Certified Data Protection Officer. So the three methods are face-to-face, online, or the third method is the past learning experience. You call this RPEL. The term is recognitions of past learning experience. So perhaps you can elaborate a little bit more, Dato', in terms of what do you look at for the past learning experience in terms of assessment and evaluation?
For the three method that we to deliver this program is actually we can go face to face, which is very traditional, but when the COVID hit the world, a lot of them went online, and some what they did was they blended, they call it a blended learning, face to face and also online. But the most interesting one that this thing existed, the third one was prior work experiential learning, RPEL, recognition of prior experiential learning, or by any other name. It's called APEL, it's called many other names.
In Malaysia they call it APEL, yes.
In Malaysia there's so many names for it, but as Shakespeare said, a rose is still a rose. When we looked at RPEL, the main element here is we look at performance criteria. In fact, in which like the level 7 of the cybersecurity leadership program, we have 12 domains, and or the 12 units, or the 12 modules by any other name again. So what we will look at is for those individuals who are applying for these modules, for these qualifications or this certification, for them to comply to the performance criteria of each of these modules. In fact, we don't look at 100% of the sub-modules, we look at 60%, because 100% of something is a bit difficult, all right? So we look at 60% of complying to each of that modules, and coupled with their work experience. So you must have better of these both things. One is you must comply to the modules, but how can you comply to the modules? You must have your work experience, or your prior knowledge, or your technical experience. That's why I come back to, because cybersecurity is it's a skill. It's a skill. When you look at skill, you look at compliance, you look at three elements: you can, you know, and you how. This is how we evaluate competencies. And when we evaluate competencies, we will ensure that the evaluation is done internally and also externally. Like in Malaysia, we usually try to get the experts in the industry to evaluate that individual, and usually that individual who evaluates that candidate is usually supra. That means they are above the candidate. So they know what they are looking for, and that individual who are doing the evaluation are also an authority in the industry. Because this is basically the process that we do, RPEL. But at times when we do the evaluation, when we do RPEL, we look at competent, or another word is not yet competent. We don't say the person has failed. Pass or not yet pass, not yet competent. For those units or the modules that individual has not yet reached competency, we will inform the person to gain competencies. We will tell them exactly where to gain the competency. So that's how the modules with OTHM was built, for every unit and sub-unit. So we will basically focus down, narrow down, and say, this is where you are lacking, please go and get more knowledge on this. Getting the knowledge can be a month, 2 months, or 3 months, or probably more than that, or it can be within days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato. I think let's take a break, and after the break, we will ask our guests more about these levels. Level 7, we mentioned about level 5 and level 7, and also some other interesting matters with regard to this qualification. So let's go for a break. Welcome back to this program. Let us continue with a lot more interesting question and understanding about the whole system that we are talking about, the CCLP, the CDPO, as well as the approved centers of OTHM and OTHM systems in the UK. Now, I would like to, we have mentioned about levels in our earlier session, level 5 and level 7. So now let me ask Patricia Land about what does these levels mean in the UK, in OTHM, as well as in comparison with the UK education system. Patricia.
Thank you. Yes. So here in the UK, we have a qualification framework which is referred to as the Regulated Qualification Framework. And it's a way of understanding and comparing different qualifications in terms of their size and the level. So with regards to levels of qualifications and programs, we have 8 levels. There are 3 different entry levels for starting out in your level of study, or for students who are inexperienced with study or very young. And then these progress through the levels up to and including level 8, which is considered to be an equivalent level of study to a doctoral degree. The levels of programs are dictated by the size and the depth of knowledge. And it is possible for students to have what we would refer to here in the UK as a spiky profile. In other words, you could have a lower level certificate or diploma or qualification at level 2, 3 or 4, but also have a level at 5, 6 or 7, because they're also subject specific, topic specific. So the levels then give students, industry leaders and professions an idea as to the depth at which that subject is being taught and the qualification or program being achieved.
Okay, drilling down further, in Malaysia they have what they call PVETs, Vocational Qualification. So how does this works in the UK in terms of OTHM?
So vocational qualifications are highly prized here in the UK, and in fact the vast majority of qualifications programs that we actually develop and support here at OTHM have a vocational orientation to a greater or lesser extent. So particularly with 2 programs that we've been talking about today, because they're specialised within the cybersecurity vocational arena, if you like, and also within data protection specialities, we would consider them to be vocational programs. And it means that people who are studying and achieving qualifications in these areas, they don't just learn the knowledge, they actually learn the applied skills, which means that people who successfully study and achieve these programs are actually practitioners, not just theoretical underpinning knowledge. And that's very, very important. So for us, the fact that you are focusing on programs that have a practical nature, but that are enshrined into a qualification or a program is absolutely ideal from our point of view.
Okay, last question for you is equation between OTHM and levels with the university's education systems. You said level 8 is equivalent to a PhD. And then can you describe more about the other levels and their,
yes,
and their mapping?
So each level has an equivalency with a university level of study. that's not saying that they are university study, but there's an equivalency. So for example, level 5 in the case of your data protection program would be equivalent at level of study, not size of study, to second year at a UK university. So the depth of the study material and learning is equivalent to second year of a bachelor degree. Level 6 then would be considered to be the equivalent depth of study as final year bachelor degree, and then level 7 would be the equivalent depth of a master's degree. We're not saying that they are degrees, but what we are showing is that there's a parity between the depth of study and how it equates to depth of study at a UK university. We always, when we're endorsing programs such as these two programs, we always look at the depth of the subject matter that's being proposed, the type of person and the role that they might have in their professional context, and consider where we would actually consider that and what level it would be. So in this case, for example, your cybersecurity endorsed program, we consider that the depth of study for that program is equivalent to the depth of study for a master's degree.
A very important question to Dr. Murthy as well as to you, Patricia, is once the candidate has gone through the process of evaluation, either through all these three methods, either through face-to-face, online, as well as RPEL or past learning experience, and those evidences are submitted to you, and then you will be doing the quality assurance on that, compliance, and then you'll be submitting to OTHM for consideration and approval. But once these requirements are satisfied, then the candidates will be given the certificates, right? OTHM level 5 or level 7 certificates. And can you describe to me, Dr. Murthy, how far-reaching these certificates would be? Is it only recognized in Malaysia, or is it only in the UK?
Okay, very good question, Dr. Jas. Very good, Professor Dr. Jas. Okay, OTHM qualification, as Patricia said, we follow the regulated qualification framework. In Malaysia, we have the Malaysian qualification framework and so on. Coming to TVET that you mentioned earlier, and Patricia elaborated on TVET itself. In fact, the Malaysian qualification framework is in par with the UK qualification framework. And in that case, the levels, level 4, level 5, level 6, they are actually in par. If you look at the Malaysian qualification framework, you look at that, like level 4 is equivalent to diploma. In Malaysia, we call it Tahap 4, Tahap 3, which is offered by JPK, Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran. And then these are the levels. So usually this, once you reach at this level, is usually accepted worldwide in the English-speaking colleges or universities. Because when we look at the level, how they come with the levels, how they say this is the level and this is the award that you get, they look at the number of units and also the credit hours. In UK, in many places, not only in UK per se, not only in the Commonwealth country per se, it's universally accepted that looking at credits, how many credits, looking at the depth of the program, from the credits then we know the hours. In common acceptance of credits, in most of the qualification framework, Singapore qualification framework and credit number, one credit, one academic or notional credit is usually 10 hours of studies. 10 hours of studies. Then we have got, in UK we got total qualification time and guided learning hours. Guided learning hours are where the learner goes through guidance. They can go through guidance through online, through face-to-face and so on. But usually it's accepted, the guided learning hours is half, usually, not always, but usually the guided learning is half of the total qualification time. So sometimes when we look at things, how are these diplomas built? How are the certificates built? We always look at units and credits and the depth of it. So come to your question, is it accepted everywhere? It should be. So sometimes you are qualified, but when you request from a university will also look at, or colleges, they look at other elements. You're qualified, but the acceptance is still, end of the day, depends on the college or the university.
Thank you, Dato'. And Patricia?
When a student is awarded a certificate, that actually that certificate can be highly prized and highly valued. As Dato' Muti has already indicated, in the UK and elsewhere, universities have their own individual entry requirements, and therefore one of the OTHM certificates can form part of the application for that university by that student. But all universities will take applications on a case-by-case basis. Universities can evaluate those and recognise the size of it and the level of it and the number of credits, and it makes it easier for the university to make a judgment about that qualification the student has submitted as part of their application process. So it does make it much more straightforward.
Thank you. Patricia, my last question to you is this OTHM certification or certificates. Are they only recognized in the UK or is it recognized in EU as well?
Yeah, they're recognised globally because they come from a UK awarding body regulated by Ofqual. That's why OTHM in its wider activities is in over 60 countries around the world. Our certificates do travel very well. Our certificates are awarded in South Africa, in countries in South America and the Caribbean, as well as obviously Malaysia, Europe and elsewhere. So our certificates do travel extremely well because they are recognised globally.
Wow, congratulations on that. And Dato' Murthy, any last word from you about our program?
Yeah, the cybersecurity program that we have, it's very unique actually. I was amazed by when you proposed to me that we will do this program and so on. It's a learning process for me, and we went through that process, and we applied it through the endorsed learning program with UK. That was itself a learning experience for both of us. Nights without sleep, and communicating with Patricia, right? The questions and answers. But we went through it. It's an awesome program, and because the certificate from OTHM that comes, it comes with a certificate, and it comes also with the transcripts. And the transcript reflects on the UK credits and the European credits. And at the back of the transcript, you will have all the other credit transfers, all related credit transfers, and so on. So it's proud to be associated with ESPC, Silver Dynamic, on this program. Venture program, strategic partnership. It's awesome because I know, we know that we have found the right partners. Because you have an authority, Dato'. You have an authority, and it makes things. This is a TVET program. When we do competency assessment on TVET program, it's so much easier than academic because we can see it. We can see the performance, and we are proud to be associated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato'. Thank you, Patricia. I think we have come to the end of our program. For those who have any inquiries, any question, you can always email us at the email address posted, shown on the screen. And with that, I would like to thank you for having with us and see you again in the coming program.